Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dychronic, you're here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the very best weapons from the recently released Crota's End raid. More specifically, we're going to take a look at these 7 weapons in this raid and rank them from 7 to 1. And I've based these rankings based on stat comparisons with previous weapon archetypes that are similar, the perk combinations, which these things have really good perks, as well as the raid exotic, which obviously I don't have yet, but I've taken a look at the different combinations and what other people are thinking and have made this top 7. In essence, I will tell you, in my opinion, what's worth going out and farming and specifically crafting from this raid. And right before I get into it, I just want to say, in general, all of these weapons have some pretty incredible perks and perk combinations, and all are craftable, obviously except for the exotic, but seemingly worse stats than a lot of previous comparable options. For example, the 180 hand cannon Word of Crota compared to another 180 like Posterity seems to have worse stats than Posterity. The Fang of Ir Yût, which is the rapid fire scout rifle, seems to have worse stats than Aisha's Embrace. Now, this is not super uncommon, but it doesn't seem like they have a specific stat advantage in any way for any of the options that I've looked at. Although again, the perks are pretty insane and may end up tipping the balance in their favor. That being said, I still think that like all of these weapons on this list are probably like top 20% weapons in the game. And furthermore, all of these have a very interesting origin trait called Cursed Thrall, where after defeating a target with a melee attack, final blows of this weapon cause the target to explode for a short duration. And we'll see how this origin trait works with their builds and if it's worth much, because it could end up just being a worse dragonfly. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on, let's go ahead and get started. At number 7, in my opinion, is going to be the Word of Crota, which is the 180 RPM Void Hand Cannon. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, I'm just not a fan of 180 RPM hand cannons. I find that they cover the target, they don't have enough range, they're too fast firing to peek shoot. I think the 140s are just better in general. However, hand cannons were buffed this season and a lot of them are doing really well. And Malfeasance is a 180, so if you like Malfeasance, you may end up liking the Word of Crota. And this one has, again, some pretty awesome perks on it. For example, Repulsor Brace plus Destabilizing Rounds. We can get the Void Overshield from getting kills with this weapon, causing the Volatile getting the Overshield, which is a somewhat unique, not totally unique, but somewhat unique combination. Otherwise, it has, again, a lot of other great perks, like Rangefinder or Demo in Column 3 and Frenzy in Column 4, as well as a lot of other things. So as far as 180s go, this is one of the best. Following that at number 6, we have the Abyss Defiant, which is a 360 RPM solar auto rifle. And yet again, I favor more towards the 720s and the 600s. The 360s just feel like in an awkward place where I'd rather use a pulse rifle. But if you like auto rifles, this is again going to be one of the best in the game. It has perks like Heal Clip, Pugilist, or Reconstruction in Column 3. It has Incandescent and Target Lock in Column 4, which are incredible perks, and it could do some interesting melee things with Pugilist and that origin trait I mentioned before, causing double explosions with Incandescent and the origin trait. Following that at number 5, we have the Fang of Ir Yût, which is the 260 RPM rapid fire Strand Scout Rifle. And as I said before, it does have worse stats than the Aishas in almost every way that matters, but again, is probably still an amazing weapon otherwise. It has incredible perks like Rewind Wounds and Rapid Hit. I will never say that perk correctly. And in 4th column, Opening Shot, Precision Instrument, and Kill Clip. A lot of great stuff for both PvE and PvP. The only downside I would say, other than the stats, is that it can't have explosive payload because rapid fire scouts cannot have it, which is why I usually favor towards the 180. And following that at number 4, we have the Necrochasm, which is the raid exotic. Kind of an embarrassing position to be for a raid exotic, especially after Root of Nightmare had conditional finality, which is still one of the best weapons in the game. This is again another disappointing raid exotic like Touch of Malice or Eyes of Tomorrow. Now that being said, it is a 720 RPM kinetic auto rifle, which obviously 720 auto rifles are a lot of fun. We saw that previously with Quicksilver Storm, but that being said, Quicksilver Storm seems to be better in almost every way. Quicksilver has better stats, especially recoil direction. 50 versus 80, Quicksilver is just a lot more usable. And again, Quicksilver is another 720 kinetic frame auto rifle. However, the Necrochasm has some different perks. For example, you increase the RPM after a kill. You cause a Cursed Thrall explosion from the precision kills, and we'll see how this Cursed Thrall arc explosion will work with the arc subclass stuff. I haven't used it, but it may be interesting. I would say probably the best part is that Necrochasm is no longer locked behind just a chance to get it on the boss kill. It's instead from a quest after finishing the raid the first time with the Husk of the Pit and then just going through that quest. After that, at number 3, one of the more interesting options, we have the Swordbreaker, which is a lightweight frame 80 RPM Strand Shotgun. And honestly, this thing could do well in both PvE or PvP with lots of melee-based perks and melee origin traits, as well as stat configuring perks. For example, in PvE, you could have something like Pugilist plus 1-2 Punch, which are both going to be melee-based stuff, and you have that origin trait, the Cursed Thrall thing. So you go to shotgun melee, get that melee kill, and every shot for a little while will cause Cursed Thrall explosions. And of course, 1-2 punch works perfectly with that, which would work great with Lorelei's, or Winter's Guile, or Worm God Caress, or Assassin's Cowl. This shotgun could fit into a lot of fun builds. And on the PvP side of things, you could do Elemental Capacitor plus Opening Shot, which allows you to get that max out handling on Arc and Opening Shot, and of course a lightweight frame, which is not the most popular these days. I think Precision Buckshots are, but it's still a great combo. After that, at number 2, we have the Song of Ir Yût, which is a 450 RPM adaptive frame arc heavy machine gun. And honestly, I love heavy machine guns these days because that buff we got a few seasons ago is still very amazing. And furthermore, I love adaptives, because if you don't know, the Commemoration is also an adaptive frame. So if you like Commemoration, the Song of Ir Yût is the arc version. And furthermore, this is the only heavy machine gun with bait and switch, as well as a lot of other great perks, which bait and switch everybody loves. Although on a heavy machine gun, may not end up being the best. Either way, perks like We Won Wounds, their Construction in column 3, and Bait and Switch and Target Lock in column 4 are incredible. And finally, at number 1, we have the Oversoul Edict, which is a 540 RPM rapid fire frame arc pulse rifle. And honestly, I love rapid fire pulse rifles, and this one again has some impressive amounts of perks. Things like Perpetual Motion or Demo in column 3. Combine that with Voltshot, Headseeker, or Adrenaline Junkie in column 4. And maybe even that Origin trait might work with Voltshot. We don't know. Maybe, you get that melee kill, you get a Voltshot hit, and all of them explode with Cursed Thralls. I don't know yet. Genuinely, a lot of great combinations for both PvE and PvP. And my recommendation, as always, is get that recoil direction closer to 90 to 100, and it's going to feel a lot better. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Mom and Dad, Caper Shaw, Wafar and Prez, Joe Batten, Robert Schroeder, James Ostler, Ethan Hodges, Monty Armstrong, Monday, Steve Barker, Tuna Panther, Case Reagan, William Peterson, Benjamin, and Sam Galaxy for all their support on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.